Resolution 2024.39, encouraging the celebration of the month of June as LGBTQIA+ Pride Month. Whereas Milpitas Unified School District supports the rights, freedoms, and equality of those who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer, LGBTQIA+, and
whereas those who took a stand for human rights and dignity at the Stonewall Inn in New York City on June 28, 1969, were pioneers of the LGBTQ movement, including two transgender women of color, Sylvia Rivera and Marsha P. Johnson, who were brave, visible leaders in the uprising at Stonewall Inn, and whereas, in December of 1973, the board of the American Psychiatric Association voted to remove homosexuality from its list of mental illnesses.
Whereas in 1975, the Civil Service Commission eliminated the ban on the employment of homosexuals in most federal jobs. Whereas on January 8, 1978, Harvey Milk made national news when he was sworn in as an openly gay member of the San Francisco Board of Supervisors.
Whereas the LGBTQIA+ community has many historical figures that climbed up the top of their respective fields, such as WNBA stars Cheryl Swoops and Sue Bird, Olympic figure skaters Brian Boitano and Johnny Weir, tennis stars Billie Jean King and Martina Navratilova, Olympic gold medalist diver Greg Louganis, U.S. women's soccer star Megan Rapinoe, actors Ellen DeGeneres, Jodie Foster, and Neil Patrick Harris, and musicians Elton John, Ricky Martin, Freddie Mercury, and Sam Smith.
Whereas in October of 1979, 75,000 people participated in the National March on Washington for lesbian and gay rights to demand equal civil rights. Whereas, on August 5, 2004, the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals determined, in Smith v. City of Salem, that transgender employees are protected from workplace discrimination under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964.
Whereas on October 28, 2009, the Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Jr. Hate Crimes Prevention Act was passed by Congress and signed into law by President Obama, and the bill expanded existing federal hate crimes laws to include crimes motivated by a victim's actual or perceived gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, or disability.
Whereas on June 26, 2013, the Supreme Court of the United States ruled in United States v. Windsor that Section 3 of the Defense of Marriage Act was unconstitutional and that the federal government cannot discriminate against married, lesbian, and gay couples for the purpose of determining federal rights, benefits, and obligations.
Whereas on June 26, 2015, the Supreme Court of the United States in Obergefell v. Hodges decided by a vote of 5-4 that the 14th Amendment requires all states to license marriages between same-sex couples and to recognize all marriages that were lawfully performed out of state.
Whereas on May 13, 2016, the Departments of Justice and Education released joint guidance to help provide educators the information they needed to ensure that transgender students attend school in an environment free from discrimination based on sex. Whereas in June of 2020, the Supreme Court of the United States voted by a 6-3 decision that one cannot be fired simply for the sexual orientation or gender identity under the Civil Rights Law of 1964.
Now therefore be it resolved that the Milpitas Unified School District Board of Education recognizes that lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer rights are human rights and are protected by the Constitution, that all Americans should be treated fairly and equally regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity. The struggle of protesters and countless other LGBTQIA+ people for equality, and encourages the celebration of LGBTQIA+ Pride Month to provide a continuing opportunity to learn about the discrimination and inequality that has faced and continues to face the LGBTQIA+ community.
Passed and adopted by the Milpitas Unified School District Board of Education at a meeting held on June 11, 2024 by the following vote.
From True Colors at MHS, Happy Pride Month!